Un saludo a todos quienes estén viendo este video, el canal de Edox Playbox, y vamos a comenzar con uno de mis juegos favoritos, una de las grandes franquicias del mundo de los videojuegos, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, un juego que realmente se ha ganado todo mi cariño y lo tengo dentro de los top 1 de mi colección. Ahora vamos a ver la versión de PC. Y bueno, también hay que contar que tengo historia con este juego, Metal Gear Solid 3. La primera vez que me empecé a subir gameplays de este juego, recibí consecutivos strikes de Konami. Nunca terminé de entender por qué, pero veía que otros canales grandes podían subir sin ningún problema gameplays y el juego completo incluso. Y yo en ese tiempo un canal minúsculo, microscópico, sin suscriptores, un canal sin suscriptores con strike. Creo que la razón es porque, no sé, algo con el copyright, yo no sé, estas cosas raras de YouTube. Al punto de que me di cuenta que todos esos canales que subían contenido de Metal Gear Solid tenían ahí la jeta del youtuber en la esquina, ahí en un cuadradito. Así que para salvaguardarme he tenido yo que también colocar mi jeta ahí, en ese rincón donde me están viendo ustedes, para prevenir un posible strike al canal, a mi segundo canal, ya que el primero me lo bombardeó Konami con 2 strikes seguidos, capítulo 1 del gameplay y capítulo 2 del gameplay, los dos con strike. Así que bueno. A ver, vámonos a la nueva partida. Estamos en la versión de PC, porque tengo que decir que esta remasterización de Metal Gear Solid es cutrefacta. Cutrefacta. A ver, veamos qué opciones tiene el juego. Opciones. A ver. Ya las mismas opciones de Play 2. No hay ninguna opción. El audio quería configurar el audio para bajarle el volumen. El juego tiene un volumen altísimo para que me pueda escuchar yo hablando. No hay opción de audio. Bueno, no voy a seguir mostrando esto. Sí, en el fondo el juego es un refrito, es un calco de la versión HD Collection, la que ya todos tenemos en la PlayStation 3 y en la Xbox 360. Es la misma versión. No hay ni una mejora. Aunque yo sí me he tomado la libertad de mejorar un poco el juego. Ya voy a explicar por qué. Le agregué ahí un par de mods interesantes para que el juego se vea espectacular. David Hayter es definitivamente para mí la voz de Solid Snake o de Naked Snake. Tantos años escuchando a David Hayter interpretando a Snake y que venga el señor Kojima y lo reemplace por Kiefer Sutherland, todavía estoy en negación por eso, todavía estoy en negación. Aunque, siendo justos, Kiefer Sutherland no lo hizo tan mal, pero no es lo mismo. Creo que me tengo que mover para acá, para la esquina, para que se vean bien los subtítulos.
Put out that cigar. Connecting oxygen hose to interior connector.
Ahí tenemos a Snake, todo un malote ahí que no le hace caso al soldado.
Does this panty waste know what he's doing?
Approaching release point.
10 minutes to drop off.
Hey, are you deaf?
He said put out the cigar and put on your mask.
Y aquí viene esta cámara lenta para indicarnos precisamente que se trata de un puro cubano. Porque Cuba tiene mucho que ver en esto de la Guerra Fría. Fue un factor bastante importante y decisivo en
Depressurization
aquella
complete.
época.
Checking oxygen supply.
Me encanta cómo este juego mezcla aspectos que sucedieron en la vida real con la ficción, con esa ficción súper fumada del Hideo Kojima, pero logra integrar toda esta fantasía del heroide de Kojima con la realidad, quedando mucho mejor la historia de Metal Gear que la historia real.
External temperature -46 degrees Celsius.
Bueno, ya se puede notar uno de los mods que le apliqué, que en realidad fueron tres mods le apliqué al juego. Uno para poder cambiarle la resolución, para no jugar a 720p, sí, porque el juego nativamente viene a esa resolución, lamentablemente. Así que le puse un mod para subir la resolución a la del escritorio
The world's first Halo jump.
en 4K,
10 seconds to drop
y
off. Stand by.
le puse un mod para reemplazar todas las texturas del juego. Por eso se ve que ahí la vestimenta de Snake, el traje, se le nota ahora los puntos de la tela.
Spread your wings
And fly.
El cinturón también se ve mucho más definido, el mismo casco, la palabra US Army, los accesorios, todo se ve mucho más detallado. En el escenario también se ve todo mucho más detallado, pero aunque se nota la diferencia menos que en el personaje en sí. Así que dudo que los que estén viéndolo por YouTube logren apreciar la diferencia debido a la compresión de video que hace el YouTube.
Jack, I've got some important news. The head of the CIA has finally given us the green light for the virtuous mission.
Virtual mission?
No, the virtuous mission. The future of our Fox unit depends on it. If it succeeds, we'll be officially organized into a unit.
Virtuous mission? Sounds like some kind of initiation ritual.
You know, don't get cocky. This isn't a training op.
Right. So what exactly is this wonderful mission?
Well, about 2 years ago, a certain Soviet scientist requested asylum in the West through one of our moles.
Acá nos ambientan en la historia.
His name is Nikolai Stepanovich Sokolov. He's head of the OKB 754 Design Bureau, one of the Soviets' top-secret weapon research facilities, and the East's foremost expert on weapons development.
Sokolov? Isn't he that famous rocket scientist?
The very same. On April the 12th, 1961, the Soviets achieved the first manned spaceflight in history.
The Earth was blue, but there was no God.
Well spoken. The rocket that carried Yuri Gagarin to orbit was the A-1, known as the Vostok rocket. Sokolov is said to be the man most responsible for the multi-engine cluster used in that rocket. After Gagarin's flight, Sokolov left rocket development to become the head of the newly established Design Bureau.
From a lowly technician to head of a design bureau, that's quite a success story, so why do you want to defect?
It seems he'd become afraid of his own creations.
Afraid?
Call it a crisis of conscience.
And for that, he left his country and his family behind and went over the fence?
Not exactly. One of his conditions was that his family was also to be taken safely to the west. We used a mole to get the family out first, and succeeded in sneaking Sokolov over the Berlin Wall shortly afterwards. I was the one who conducted the operation.
The security on the eastern side was still full of holes back then. Then what?
We got Sokolov over in one piece, but the whole ordeal had left him exhausted, and we checked him into a hospital in West Berlin. It took him 2 weeks and more than 600 miles to get from the research facility in the Soviet Union to Berlin. He was in no condition to say anything coherent. And it was only a week later that we had something much bigger on our hands.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
October the 16th, 1962, President Kennedy received word that the Soviets were in the process of deploying intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Cuba.
Los misiles en Cuba.
The President demanded that the Soviets dismantle and remove the missiles. At the same time, he announced a naval blockade to prevent further missile shipments from reaching Cuba. But the Soviets didn't back down, instead placing their armed forces on secondary alert. Soviet transport ships carrying missiles continued on course towards Cuba. US and Soviet forces went on alert for an all-out nuclear war. Frantic negotiations were conducted through the UN's Emergency Security Council and unofficial channels to end the hair-trigger standoff. Finally, on October the 28th, the Soviet Union agreed to remove its missiles from Cuba, and so the world avoided a nuclear holocaust. But in order to get the Soviets to pull their missiles out, we had to make a deal.
You mean the one where the US agreed to remove its IRBMs from Turkey?
No. The Jupiter IRBMs deployed in Turkey were obsolete.
Esto pasó en la vida real.
Got rid of them anyway. They had no strategic value whatsoever to either the US or the Russians. The Turkey deal was a ruse, a cover story that was fed to the other intelligence agencies around the world.
So what did the Russians really want?
Sokolov. They wanted us to return Sokolov.
Introduce uno de sus personajes
You mean
ficticios
the Soviets
de una
pulled out
manera
bombs just to
magistral
get their hands
acá.
on Sokolov?
That's right.
What the hell was he working on?
At the time, we had no idea. We were running out of time. It was either give up Sokolov or risk full-scale nuclear war. In the end, we had no choice. President Kennedy gave in to Khrushchev's demand. The next day, I got Sokolov out of the hospital, handing him over to agents on the eastern side. Sokolov kept on screaming, "Save me," until he disappeared from my sight. Then a month ago, we received some new information from one of our moles.
About Sokolov?
Yes. He was taken back to the research facility and forced to continue working on the weapon in question under KGB supervision. What's more, it's on the verge of completion.
So what kind of weapon is it? Something to do with space rockets?
No, missiles.
Same technology.
I guess you're right. We don't know the details, but it appears to be a new kind of nuclear device. For half a year now, the Soviets have been conducting frequent nuclear tests at Semipalatinsk.
Something to do with the weapon, I assume.
We're talking about a secret weapon so big that Khrushchev was ready to pull out of Cuba to get it back.
Is Sokolov still in the facility?
No, according to our intelligence, he's in Selino-Yarsk, a place in the mountains about 3 miles to the west that's known as the Virgin Cliffs.
The Virgin Cliffs. Nice name for a virtuous mission.
They moved him there just recently.
Why?
Apparently, they're conducting a field test of the weapon, but it's our best chance to get him back. This mission would never have been possible if he was still in the research facility. This is our last chance. Sokolov must have known that too when he contacted us.
Wow, tremenda introducción. Bueno, todos los Metal Gear tienen una gran dosis de cinematografía. Son pelijuegos en toda regla. Y ustedes saben que este canal está especializado en pelijuegos. Bueno, a diferencia de los días domingos, tenemos los domingos de Fighting y algunas reseñas que las reseñas suelen sucederse una vez cada 1000 años, ya que son difíciles de hacer y el tiempo es el que no acompaña para poder hacerlas. Pero ya llevamos como unos 20 minutos de cinemática, si es que no me equivoco, antes recién de empezar a jugar. Y eso sin contar en Metal Gear Solid 4, al ser el último de la saga, es el más peli que juego que todos los demás juntos. Mi idea es hacer una serie de toda la saga Metal Gear, pero no en su orden de aparición de los juegos, sino en el orden cronológico de la historia. Este vendría siendo el primer tomo, por así decirlo, que es una idea que se me ocurre. A ver si logro concretarla hasta el final.
She's equipped with 2 6-barrel 20mm Vulcan cannons, as well as 2 40mm machine guns.
Sounds like she could hold her own against a battalion of tanks.
Even with the fuel in the reserve tank, we're facing a 4-hour time limit. If all goes well, it shouldn't take more than a few hours.
Home in time for dinner.
But if anything goes wrong,
You'll be eating dinner, breakfast,
and all the rest of your meals in the jungle.
bueno, como había la necesidad de colocar mi jeta ahí en la esquina, no sé, en esa esquina creo que estoy, para evitar el strike que me dejó traumado Konami, estoy jugando desde el notebook, no desde el PC de escritorio. Así que si de repente escuchan una bulla estilo turbina, precisamente ese es el problema de los notebooks, que cuando se calientan empieza a girar el ventilador a la máxima velocidad y esperemos no escucharlo, ya que le puse ahí el filtro de ruido al micrófono. Yo con los audífonos puestos, con los dos headsets, eh, no lo escucho, pero tengo temor a que se escuche por el micrófono el sonido de los ventiladores cuando empiece a, a calentarse el equipo. Ya tenemos ahí a David Hayter y comenzamos la aventura. Está excelente el mod de las texturas.
Do you copy? You're already in enemy territory, and somebody might be listening in. From here on out, we'll be using code names to refer to each other. Your code name for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. You're not to mention your real name.
Snake?
What, you don't like snakes?
What do you mean?
Well, you've eaten one before, haven't you?
In survival training?
I'm glad to hear that.
I don't know if I'd ever order one in a restaurant, but...
Be careful, you might not have a choice.
What about you, Major? What should I call you?
Let's see. I'll be Tom. Call me Major Tom. This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's speciality. In other words, weapons and equipment are procured on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
Great. Now I see why you asked me if I like snakes. I suppose calling me Snake was your idea of a joke, too.
No. There's a good reason for that. I'll tell you later when the time is right.
Gotcha. Getting back to the subject, how exactly am I supposed to feed myself?
You've been issued a knife and a tranquilizer gun. Use them to hunt for food. You'll also find some medical supplies in your backpack.
Yeah, about the backpack. I lost it in a tree on the way down.
I see. Well, you'd better go back and get it then. You know where it is?
No problem. I can see it from here. It's stuck on a branch.
To climb a tree, stand in front of a tree that's covered in ivy and press the action button.
Bueno, al ser un pelijuego y al ser yo un gran fan de Metal Gear, obviamente que está prohibido, está terminantemente prohibido adelantar una cinemática, para que ya lo sepan desde ya. Y los llamados por codec tampoco se adelantan, a menos que sea un tutorial de cómo jugar y qué botón apretar. Eso sí lo voy a adelantar. Y bueno, ya estamos en el gameplay y ahora lo que quiero es mostrar el tercer mod interesante que le está del juego para convertirlo en la obra maestra definitiva que debió haber hecho Konami, y es este. ¿Ah? ¿Qué tal? Ahora puedo caminar agachado y tal como se ve, caminar agachado afecta al índice de camuflaje y a la visión desde lejos de los enemigos. Puedo ir acá arrastrándome, puedo ir agazapado o puedo correr. Así que nice. Este sí es Metal Gear Solid 3 Master o Remaster Collection. ¿Qué les costaba a la gente de Konami? ¿Qué le costaba hacer esto? Un modder lo hizo en una hora, apenas salido el juego. El mod de la resolución para poder subirlo a 4K. ¿Qué le costaba a Konami? ¿Qué le costaba? El mod de las texturas. Bueno, ese se demoró un poquito más. No apareció al tiro. Apareció como al mes después. Pero ahí está, las texturas de Naked Snake. Miren ahí la ropa de Snake, la cara. ¿Qué le costaba a Konami? ¿Qué le costaba? Pero bueno, ya estamos acá ya. Así que vámonos. ¿Mm?
Snake, where do you think you're going? You can't expect to proceed with the mission without any weapons or equipment. First, you'll need to recover your backpack. It's caught on a tree to the south. Press the action button to climb the tree and retrieve your backpack. Is that clear?
Se enojó el mayor cero. Nunca había visto esto. No había visto nunca esto. Pero por estar hablando, se me olvidó que tenía que recoger acá la mochila. Primera vez que veo esto. Ya, vamos a recoger el equipo de Snake. Ahora sí. Ahora se viene una conversación de codec más o menos larga.
I see you've retrieved your backpack, Snake. To equip a weapon, it's necessary to take it out of your backpack. In the survival viewer, choose Weapon from the backpack. Your available weapons will be displayed in a window in the upper left. From that list, choose the weapon you want to equip and press the Enter button. For other equipped items, just do the same thing from Item.
Got it. Use the survival viewer backpack.
Yep, that's right. Survival is fundamental to this mission. After you've been out in the field for a while, your stamina will start to drop. If your stamina gets too low, it'll affect your performance. You won't be able to shoot accurately, for example, and your wounds won't heal as smoothly. Keep an eye on your stamina so you don't run out. To recover lost stamina, you can hunt for local flora and fauna. You can use either your tranquilizer gun or your knife to hunt.
My only weapon is a Mark 22 Hush Puppy tranquilizer gun?
That's right. It's been fitted with its own suppressor. However, the suppressor will deteriorate every time you fire. Once its durability reaches 0, the noise suppression effect will be gone. So don't get too trigger-happy with it. The suppressor's durability is shown in the icon. Any weapons and equipment beyond what you're carrying now, you'll have to find as you go.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment? Whose crazy idea was this anyway?
Solo covert actions are standard Fox operating procedure. You can't leave any traces of your presence. No weapons, equipment, footprints, sweat, or bodily waste. The same goes for bullets and cartridges, too. Your presence in enemy territory is already a violation of international conventions of warfare. There aren't supposed to be any American soldiers in Russia. It could spark an international incident. You can't let anyone see you. You can't let the enemy know you're there. This is a stealth mission. You're a ghost, Snake, in every sense of the word. And there'll be no rescue if you're captured. The military and US government will deny any involvement in the affair.
Then I'll just have to take care of myself, huh?
I'm afraid so. You've been given a fake death pill for that purpose. SIS guidelines stipulate that soldiers on covert ops like this one be issued a potassium cyanide capsule. Tape it to your body so you can take it when you need to.
How generous of you.
Use it if you're taken prisoner by the enemy. It'll send you into a state of false death for a short time.
Fooling them into thinking that I'm really dead. So how do I come back to life?
Just take the revival pill.
You mean that thing they put in my tooth before the mission?
That's the one. But be careful. If you remain in a state of false death for too long, nothing will be able to bring you back. Remember that.
I'll keep it in mind. You said this was a solo mission, right?
Right.
I guess that means I can't count on any reinforcements.
Correct. The mission rests entirely in your hands.
A real one-man army.
Relax. There's a support team ready to back you up over the radio.
Who?
I'll introduce them to you. This time, survival is of utmost importance. The first member of the support team will be in charge of monitoring your physical condition, acting as a medic, so to speak, as well as recording your mission data. She's a member of Fox as well, and she's here on the gunship with me.
She.
Hello, Snake. I'm paramedic. Nice to meet you.
Paramedic.
As in a medic who comes in by parachute.
Aren't you going to tell me your real name?
Are you going to tell me yours, Mr. Snake?
My name, huh? It's John Doe.
And they call you Jack for short. You're a regular Captain Nemo.
A name means nothing on the battlefield. After a week, no one has a name. What's your name?
Jane Doe.
Very funny.
I wasn't joking, but I'll tell you my name only if you manage to make it back alive. My frequency is 145.73.
She's also in charge of recording your mission data. Whenever you want to save, send a message over the reserved save frequency, 140.96.
So saving lets me record my mission data.
That's right. It also records the state of your health.
Good to know.
There's one more person I want to introduce you to, Snake.
Huh?
Speaking of snakes, you remember the boss, don't you? A legendary soldier and your mentor. Actually, it was the boss that got the DCI's authorization in the first place. She's going to be serving as Fox's mission advisor.
Boss is?
She also helped me plan this mission. She and I were at SAS together.
Jack, is that you? How many years has it been?
The boss.
Boss?
That's right. It's me.
Oh.
Talk to me. Let me hear your voice.
It's been 5 years, 72 days, and 18 hours.
You've lost weight.
You can tell just by the sound of my voice.
Of course I can. I know all about you.
Really? Well, I don't know anything about you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Why'd you disappear on me all of a sudden?
I was on a top-secret mission.
Hmm.
You didn't need me anymore.
But there were still so many things I wanted you to teach me.
No, I taught you everything you needed to know about fighting techniques. I taught you all I could. The rest you needed to learn on your own.
Techniques, sure. But what about how to think like a soldier?
How to think like a soldier? I can't teach you that. A soldier needs to be strong in spirit, body, and technique. And the only thing you can learn from someone else is technique. In fact, technique doesn't even matter. What's most important is spirit. Spirit and body are like two sides of a single coin. They're the same thing. I can't teach you how to think. You'll just have to figure it out for yourself. Listen to me, Jack. Just because soldiers are on the same side right now doesn't mean they always will be. Having personal feelings about your comrades is one of the worst sins you can commit. Politics determine who you face on the battlefield. And politics are a living thing. They change along with the times. Yesterday's good might be tomorrow's evil.
Is that why you abandoned me?
No, it had nothing to do with you. I already told you, Jack. I was on a top-secret mission. A soldier has to follow whatever orders he's given. It's not his place to question why. But you're looking for a reason to fight. You're a natural-born fighter, but you're not quite a soldier. A soldier is a political tool, nothing more. That's doubly true if he's a career soldier. Right and wrong have no place in his mission. He has no enemies and no friends. Only the mission. You follow the orders you're given. That's what being a soldier is.
I do whatever I have to get the job done. I don't think about politics.
That's not the same thing. Sooner or later, your conscience is going to bother you. In the end, you have to choose whether you're going to live as a soldier or just another man with a gun. There's a saying in the Orient, loyalty to the end. Do you know what it means?
Being patriotic.
It means devoting yourself to your country.
I follow the president and the top brass. I'm ready to die for them if necessary.
The president and the top brass won't be there forever. Once their terms are up, others will take their place.
I follow the will of the leader, no matter who's in charge.
People aren't the ones who dictate the missions.
Then who does?
The times. People's values change over time, and so do the leaders of a country. So there's no such thing as an enemy in absolute terms. The enemies we fight are only enemies in relative terms, constantly changing with the times. As long as we have loyalty to the end, there's no point in believing in anything, even in those we love.
And that's the way a soldier's supposed to think?
The only thing we can believe in with absolute certainty is the mission, Jack.
All right, but do me a favor.
What is it?
Call me Snake.
Snake. Oh, right. Your codename is Snake. It suits you well.
That's right. The legendary unit that the boss put together during World War II was a snake. The Cobra unit, A group of heroes that brought the war to an end and saved the world. As long as you've got a legendary hero backing you up, you'll be fine. Isn't that right, Snake?
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else I'd rather have with me. Oh, and one more thing, boss.
Yes,
It's good to hear your voice again.
same here. After all, who knows if either of us will make it out alive? Snake, you are always best at urban warfare and infiltrating buildings. But this is the jungle. Survival is going to be key. Those CQC techniques I taught you are sure to come in handy.
CQC? Close quarters combat, huh? I've been in the Green Berets for the past few years. I'm probably pretty rusty.
Not to worry. I'll be here to help you remember. After all, this is your first actual survival mission. I'll be supporting you over the radio.
Where are you, boss? Next to the Major?
The boss is communicating with us by radio from aboard a Permit-class submarine in the Arctic Ocean.
My frequency is 141.80. Call me if you need my advice on battle techniques.
Gotcha.
Your mission is to retrieve Dr. Sokolov. Dr. Sokolov is being held in an abandoned factory located to the north of your current position. Avoid heavy combat and don't let anyone see you. Don't forget that this is a stealth mission.
Tremendo codec, ¿ah? Tuvimos ahí como 10 minutos de conversación. Pero una conversación profunda. Y acá yo me detengo para destacar la capacidad para crear personajes. The Boss es un personaje muy profundo, un personaje muy bien construido, una mujer dura, endurecida por la guerra, una mujer soldado, fuerte de carácter, es casi como un hombre, pero sin perder su esencia femenina. Yo sé que estamos en tiempos feministas y todo esto del wokismo, ¿cierto? Lo progre, que yo detesto tanto. De hecho, así partió mi aventura en los gameplays, mi regreso a YouTube, con el gameplay antiprogre de The Last of Us Parte 2, con todo el tema de lo aliado y todas esas cosas. ¿Ah? Los directores de cine, bueno, los tiempos, como dice ahí The Boss, los tiempos, se han empeñado en hacer una caricatura de la mujer empoderada feminista a través del cine, a través de las películas, que al final lo único que termina causando es un cringe tremendo y hace que la gente no vaya a ver esas películas por la falta de capacidad de crear un personaje femenino fuerte, cosa que acá Hideo Kojima lo hace de una manera magistral. Así que a todos estos progres woke que quieren hacer películas, qué sé yo, de la mujer empoderada y todas esas cosas, jueguen Metal Gear Solid 3. Jueguenlo. Y ahí van a entender de qué es lo que estoy hablando. Una mujer fuerte que no está diciendo a los cuatro vientos que es fuerte, que es independiente y que es empoderada, cuando en realidad no lo es. No lo anda diciendo, no lo anda pregonando por los cuatro vientos. Simplemente hace lo que tiene que hacer. Así de simple. Y eso es lo que la convierte en el personaje femenino más fuerte de todos los que yo he visto, dejando en segundo lugar a la protagonista de Kill Bill. Sencillamente hace lo que tiene que hacer, lo que sus necesidades le demandan. Y no anda diciendo yo soy acá, yo soy allá, yo no necesito a los hombres, que yo no necesito acá, yo no necesito allá, y bla 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 bla. Y el patriarcado y bla 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 bla. A ver, acá hay un ungüento. Acá las texturas, el mod de texturas favoreció bastante a los cocodrilos, que se ven mucho más nítidos y definidos. ¡Vamos, cresta! Por andar payaseando me mató el cocodrilo. Y ahora sí lo vamos a hacer bien. Ya bajé mi ranking, ya. Con esa pura muerte bajé mi ranking para finalizar el juego. Ah, y acá está el cocodrilo camuflado. No. Vamos a pasar despacito ahora. Ah. Y acá hay un valiosísimo silenciador. Este cocodrilo los podré dormir. A ver. No me acuerdo si dormían o no. Ah, sí, se duermen. Y si le pego una patadita. A ver. Ay, no le puedo pegar pataditas. A ver. ¡No! Ya me estoy poniendo muy idiota, así que avancemos mejor.
Major, I've spotted 2 enemy soldiers.
They're probably KGB troops sent to guard Sokolov.
AK-47s and grenades.
Snake, your presence in Soviet territory is already a violation of international law. We can't let the Kremlin find out that the CIA and the American government are involved. Contact with the enemy is strictly prohibited. Don't engage them in battle either. This is a stealth mission. Got that?
The Major is right. The point of this mission is to sneak through the jungle without being seen. The success of the mission depends on how well you use your camouflage. Change your camouflage by selecting Camouflage from the Survival Viewer. The Uniform option lets you pick your uniform, while the Face option lets you change your face paint. Choosing camouflage that blends in with your surroundings will help you conceal yourself more effectively. Also, don't forget that anything that moves will stand out in the jungle. If you just stand up and run around like an idiot, you're bound to be spotted. But if you crawl instead, you should be able to sneak by without being noticed. You can see how effective your
Bueno, eso lo
camouflage
vamos
is
a
by...
adelantar porque el tutorial del camuflaje yo ya me lo conozco. Y a ver, acá viene un enemigo. Sí, a este lo voy a esperar porque aquí me gusta probar cosas. Me gusta divertirme con este primer enemigo. Y vamos a ubicar acá al Snake. Le vamos a colocar un camuflaje. A ver, ¿cuál será el mejor? Bah, verdad que estoy jugándolo por primera vez en PC, por eso no tengo todos los camuflajes. Ah, ya, vamos a tener que matar a los jefes con pistola tranquilizadora para ir desbloqueando camuflajes. Vamos a colocarnos este. Ahí viene el incauto, no sabe lo que le espera. ¿Cómo se va a demorar? Pues ahí tomando unos traguitos de mate. Vamos a practicar las técnicas CQC de Snake. Siempre cuando hace eso me asusta, como que me va a pillar, me va a descubrir.
Freeze.
Acá lo tenemos a nuestra
No,
disposición.
wait.
Y acá me va soltando los ítems.
Uh. Uh. Speak. We won't hand over Sokolov.
No quiere cooperar.
Speak. Let go of me.
Bueno, vamos a hacerle un CQC.
Freeze.
Ahí vamos a dispararle como en Deadpool. Justo ahí. A ver. Ahí más o menos.
No, wait.
No, fallé. Pero casi. Ahí se va a dormir. Cuando yo ando muy ocioso jugando Metal Gear Solid 3, trato de hacerle esto a todos los enemigos, a interrogarlos a todos y voy descubriendo cosas bastante interesantes. Bueno, acá me voy a ir a aprovechar el nuevo modo agachado, que se lo puse con un mod. Está pero espectacular. Y vamos a ir avanzando un poquito más rápido para no demorar tanto el gameplay. El peli gameplay. ¡Y mierda! Casi me pilla ese. Por acá andaba otro, creo. Ahí ya lo vi. Está camuflado. A ver, ¿verdad que acá todo hay que equiparlo? Ya, vamos obviamente a hacer lo que el juego nos indica acá. Hay una pequeña ventaja a nuestro favor, así que la vamos a utilizar. Bueno, acá en este puente se puede notar bien el filtrado anisotrópico que hace que el puente se vea bien, no como en la versión de Play 5, donde el filtrado anisotrópico es casi inexistente. Y es que estoy furioso yo con Konami por el trabajo que hicieron con esta actualización del Metal Gear para nueva generación, porque no tocaron nada, absolutamente nada, pudiendo haberle hecho un lavado de cara al juego, y el no haberlo hecho para mí ya es casi ofensivo. Ahora, comprar este juego en consola, ¿vale la pena? Absolutamente, yo creo que no, absolutamente no. Creo que la mejor versión es la de Xbox 360, porque la versión de PlayStation 3 tiene unos bajones de rendimiento importantísimos, especialmente cuando Vol'jin saca rayos del cuerpo. No, los FPS bajan hasta los 17, de 60 a 17 FPS. Es mucho. En Xbox 360 no pasa eso. Se mantienen estables los 60 FPS.
I can't see Sokolov from here.
Así que si ya tienes esa versión, la versión de HD Collection de Xbox 360, quédate con esa. No es necesario comprar esta versión para Xbox Series X o Play 5. Absolutamente innecesario. A menos que seas un super ultra fan, ultra mega coleccionista
Your
y quieras
objective
tener
of
la versión
Sokolov
física.
is inside the factory. They should be
Bueno,
holding him in a room in the northeast section.
ahí ya es otra cosa.
Got it.
Be careful. Your mission is to bring Sokolov back alive. He must not be exposed to any kind of danger. Do not approach Sokolov while in the alert phase.
Right.
Oh, and one more thing, Snake.
You mean there's more?
No, it's just that when you get to Sokolov, I want you to tell him something from me.
And that is?
Sorry for being so late.
Is that all?
Yes.
Understood. Beginning my approach to the target.
Ay, se me va a escapar, se me va a escapar. Ah, no. Bueno, acá puedo utilizar mi técnica de al agachado. Ah, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Lo van a despertar? Ah, mierda, lo van a despertar. Chuta. No. Ay, señor. Esto es lo que no me gusta. What's wrong? Ya, ahí los dormí a los dos. Esto, por lo general, si alguien no sabe cómo lo hice, Edox Tutoriales presenta cómo jugar Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. En primera persona, con los gatillos, uno puede levantarse así, por encima o por el lado. Estando agachado o de pie. Y bueno, parece que los aturdí a todos, ¿o no? ¡Ah, no! ¡Uy, mierda! Casi me pilla ese. Eso, que ese ahí nomás. Excelente. Parece que durmieron todos. Están todos durmiendo. Así que puedo aprovechar de explorar acá. No me acuerdo si en esta parte... ¡Ah! No, me queda uno. ¿Dónde está? ¿O será Sokolov el que me marca? A ver, ¿qué dice? Sonar activo. Sensor detecta animales con ondas de sonido. Pulsa el botón L, el stick analógico izquierdo para emitir ondas. Al utilizarlo gasta pilas. Ya, pero yo al apretar ese analógico, apunta. No utiliza el sonar activo. O sea, ni siquiera arreglaron eso los de Konami. Ni siquiera arreglaron eso. O sea, portearon el juego sin siquiera revisar nada. Hagamos el port nomás. La gente lo va a comprar. Ya, bueno. Vamos a ver si hay algún... Había una ranita Querotán por ahí, me acuerdo, que yo las desbloqueé todas, pero el Play 2. y no me apetece dispararle a las ranitas ahora, grabando, porque sé que me voy a demorar. Voy a tener que jugar de nuevo algunas partes. Así que esa tarea no la vamos a hacer. Y no... Ah, ahí estaba este. A ver. Vamos a hacerle un freeze. Ah, miércoles, no me salió. Hacerle para que duerma. Parece que el freeze, no funciona agachado, creo. Bueno, se trata de un mod. Mi idea era sorprenderlo así agachadito y hacerle un freeze. Y no me resultó. Voy a volver a probar más adelante a ver si es que realmente funciona o no funciona. A ver, no hay... Pensé que había un camuflaje por acá. No, estoy... No, no hay camuflaje por acá. Así que vámonos directo a la historia.
You must be Sokolov.
Are you one of Volgin's men? You'll never get it from me.
No. I'm a CIA agent. I've come to escort you back to the other side of the Iron Curtain.
You're CIA?
Yeah. I was sent by Major Zero, the man who got you out 2 years ago.
Zero?
I have a message from him.
What is it?
He said to tell you sorry for being so late.
Did he now?
What does it mean?
It means he's a man of his word. But we've got no time for this. You have to get me out of here before they arrive.
Who's they?
Colonel Volgin of Gru. You in the West know him as Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt? Never heard of him.
He's a member of the Army's extremist faction, a man who seeks to seize control of the motherland. Ever since the Cuban Missile Crisis 2 years ago, Khrushchev has been pursuing a policy of peaceful coexistence with the West. Despite resistance and criticism from hawks in the army and the provincial authorities, Khrushchev has managed to suppress the opposition so far. But the failure of his agricultural policies has put him in a precarious position. And on top of that, the tragedy last November.
President Kennedy's assassination.
Precisely. In a sense, Khrushchev has lost his biggest partner, and his power base is rapidly crumbling away. A certain group is plotting to use this opportunity to seize power by rallying the anti-government forces, overthrowing Khrushchev, and installing Brezhnev and Kosygin in his place. The mastermind behind this plot is Colonel Volgin of the Gru. He has control over another secret weapons research facility much like this one, OKB-812, known as the Granin Design Bureau, and is using it to further his plans. But that is not enough to satisfy him. Now he's plotting to seize the secret weapon I have been developing here and use it as leverage in his bid for power. The intelligence says that they are going to make their move during the test.
Then, the soldiers outside.
Exactly. They wouldn't need that many men just to keep me inside. Their orders were to prevent Colonel Volgin from capturing me. Even if it meant killing me in the process, or so it would seem. Volgin will come. I'm sure of it. You must get me out of here before then.
Leave it to me.
By the way, your Russian is superb. Where did you learn to speak it?
From my mentor.
Is that so? America is truly a frightening country.
Having second thoughts?
No. I have no love for this place. Let's go.
Major, this is Snake. Sokolov is safe with me. He's doing fine. No injuries.
Good work, Snake. Now hurry up and get Sokolov to the recovery point. We'll rendezvous with you there.
Roger.
What about the sentries?
I managed to get past them.
I see.
What about the boss?
We lost contact with the boss some time ago.
What happened?
It's probably just a weak signal. Just hurry and get Sokolov out of there.
Buena chaqueta se mandó Sokolov. Más adelante hay una parte que es la única en el juego en donde se ve como un paneo, así un giro en 360 de la cámara, donde se ve como si estuviera a 30 FPS pero va a 60, como que si se duplicara cada fotograma, y eso pasa en todas las versiones, Play 3, Xbox 360, Play 5, PC, no sé a qué se deberá. Justo esta parte. Y ahora volvió nuevamente a la fluidez normal.
So this is the legendary boss.
Huh?
Huh? We meet at last.
Ocelot, mítico personaje de la saga Metal Gear, tan protagónico como el mismísimo Snake.
What's a Gru soldier doing here?
Soldier?
Esto también me gustó mucho de este Metal Gear Solid 3, como al ser una precuela que muestra los inicios de un joven Revolver Ocelot, que es un personaje pero vital en la saga Metal Gear. Metal Gear no es nada sin Revolver Ocelot. Así de importante es este personaje. Y acá lo vemos en sus inicios.
And Ocelot never lets his prey escape.
What?
Revolver Ocelot está inspirado en los Spaghetti Western, las películas de vaqueros hechas por los italianos, donde participó en varias de ellas Clint Eastwood, donde aparecen estos pistoleros con una puntería inhumana y que te cortan en dos el cigarrillo de la boca con un balazo o te disparan en el sombrero para hacerte un agujero sin matarte. Cosas que solo se ven en ese tipo de cine. Y ahí es donde está inspirado el revólver Ocelot, con su puntería extrema.
I can't say it feels good to kill a comrade, even if it is for the Gru.
Sokolov, take cover.
Huh. You're not the boss, are you?
Crew operatives!
What is that stance? Huh. That gun. If you're not the boss, then die.
Major! Leave it! Shoot the other one! Whoa!
You ejected the first bullet by hand, didn't you? I see what you were trying to do. But testing a technique you've only heard about in the middle of battle wasn't very smart. You were asking to have your gun jam on you. Huh? Besides, I don't think you're cut out for an automatic in the first place. You tend to twist your elbow to absorb the recoil. That's more of a revolver technique.
You filthy American dog!
But that was some fancy shooting. You're pretty good.
Pretty good.
Major, do you read me?
I read you. Snake, you all right?
I've run into a few snags. These guys were after Sokolov too. Apparently they were taking orders from a GRU colonel named Volgan.
A GRU colonel?
Part of an internal Soviet power struggle, according to Sokolov. Something between the KGB and GRU. Between Khrushchev's supporters and Volgan's.
Sokolov was being guarded by the KGB and hunted by GRU? Snake, it sounds like this could be even hotter than Cuba.
I don't like it. Something about the whole thing stinks.
I agree. You'd better hurry.
Sokolov ran off by himself, but I'll catch up to him.
We're counting on you.
tremendas escenas que tiene Metal Gear Solid 3. Y bueno, creo que vamos a dejar hasta acá el capítulo de hoy. Vamos a continuar en el segundo. Bueno, de aquí mismo voy a grabar el segundo episodio y la idea es ir jugando el juego y también ir desglosando la historia, ahí analizando este el contenido que nos presenta el juego, las ideas que hay de fondo. Hay acá una lucha hay entre capitalismo y socialismo que Hideo Kojima la aborda de una manera bastante magistral sin tomar posición por ninguna de las dos, bastante neutral. Y bueno, hay muchos otros detalles que nos ofrece el juego de la historia de los personajes. Algunas anécdotas, así que todo eso lo vamos a ir desglosando en la medida que vayamos avanzando en el juego. Si gustas de los pelijuegos como yo y has llegado hasta aquí, no te cuesta nada suscribirte y así vas a poder estar al tanto de los siguientes episodios de esta gran saga Metal Gear Solid 3. Te invito a suscribirte y ojalá nos encontremos en el próximo capítulo. Nos vemos. Acá recuerdo que le puedo quitar la casa ratona a este. Y si lo mato, hago una paradoja temporal y salto un trofeo en consolas y en Steam. Bueno, vamos a aprovechar de grabar.
Saving the game, Snake?